Men wanted for hazardous journey. Small wages, bitter cold, long months of complete darkness, constant danger, safe return doubtful, honor and recognition in case of success. Excuse the totally outdated gender language, it's a very old ad. 2 questions for you. Who's gonna apply? Do we have adventure spirits in the room? Second question, who wrote the ad? I gave this story, or part of this, the speech, the story, at a life science client in Seattle a few months ago. And somebody in the back yelled, "It's from a dating app." So we went like, is it Bumble? Is it Hinge? Is it Tinder? No. It's not from a dating app. This ad is said to have been placed in London newspapers in the 1910s by Irish polar explorer Ernest Shackleton. With both the North and South Pole conquered, the one remaining challenge was to cross Antarctica on foot, the highest, coldest, windiest continent on the planet. And Shackleton needed 26 crew to get it done. How many do you think applied? You just saw the ad. He needed 26. How many do you think applied? Yell it out. 100? 200? 2? 5,000. Do you have talent issues in your credit union, in your bank? Try this. 5,000. 5,000. Shackleton was unorthodox, well ahead of his time in terms of his humble leadership. He was also unconventional in how he hired. He hired for life outlook and attitude and trained for skill. He hired for life outlook and attitude and trained for skill. One man, he asked during the interview, "Can you sing?" And when the young man responded, "Do you mean, can I hold a tune? Probably not. But can I join into rowdy sing-along together with my mates? Absolutely." The man was hired on the spot. After Shackleton assembled his crew, he made relationship building his core leadership priority. He wanted to understand each man, their strengths, their weaknesses, their personal styles. He was tender on people by getting to know everybody on a deeply meaningful personal level. But he could also be tough on results. After they sailed across the Atlantic from England and arrived in Argentina, the cook got terribly drunk one night and behaved totally inappropriately. Shackleton immediately knew the man's not fit for mission and fired him on the spot. But in his tender way, he found the cook another job on a ship that sailed back to England. The crew set off from Argentina and sailed south. They didn't know it, but there would be more pain, misery, and danger awaiting them than they could ever have imagined. Just 100 miles from reaching Antarctica, their ship, the Endurance, got stuck in the thickening pack ice. They were 1,000 miles from the closest human being. Nobody knew their whereabouts. And remember, this was well before fancy outdoor gear like down jackets and Cortex shells. They had no choice but to settle in for a long, dark, miserable winter. During the long 10 months that followed, Shackleton made keeping morale of his crew up his top leadership priority. He organized regular sing-alongs, poker nights, birthdays, became elaborate celebrations, and he even, and I love this, organized soccer matches on the ice and dog sled races. To fight boredom, increase stimulation, and tear down hierarchy, he had each crew member cross-train on every other position on the ship. The scientists would help peel potatoes in the galley, the photographer would help with the sled dogs, and he himself would scrub and clean the ship. Every man received the same portion regardless of rank or position, unheard of on other English ships. In today's terms, we would say Shackleton tore down silos, drove engagement, built trust, built a strong team. Because of this trust, each crew member knew it was safe to come to Shackleton with questions, concerns, crazy ideas. He was famous for his ability to relate to, listen to, and speak to anybody. He praised the messenger versus punished the messenger, and the process championed a fearless, a psychologically safe crew. After 10 long months, the pack ice started to shift and move. But instead of freeing the Endurance, the shifting and moving pack ice started to crush the ship and the Endurance sank. Their only way to reach safety disappearing before their very eyes. The crew was stuck in the middle of Antarctica on floating ice with nothing more but 3 life rafts and a pile of gear. As the ice continued to shift and move, they sometimes wake up in the middle of the night. There's a foot-wide gap under their tent. Shackleton dug deep and knew the only way to safety was to try and reach one of the small islands 200 miles away. During the 16 miserable, long days and nights at sea, Shackleton changed destination 4 times because of changing weather conditions. When conditions changed, Shackleton had the self-awareness and, yes, the humility to say, I screwed that up, and swiftly change course. After 16 days and nights, they arrived on Elephant Island. For the first time in 16 months, they set foot on land. But there was nobody there to help them. The crew was in terrible condition and food was running low. Shackleton dug deep again and realized now the only way to safety was to try and reach the closest whaling station on St. George's Island, 800 miles away, across one of the most treacherous seas in the world, where 100-foot waves are the norm. He grabbed his best life raft, 5 men. It was 800 miles in an open life raft across one of the most dangerous seas in the world. No maps, only the stars. Miraculously, after 3 long weeks, they made it. Do we have any sailors or boaters in the room? Can I have a show of hands? Who likes to sail or boat? Anybody? I'm speaking specifically to you, of course to everybody else as well. To this day, this is considered the greatest feat of open water navigation we know of, to this day. But they landed on the wrong side of the island. To get to the other side of the island, where the whaling station was, they had to climb over 10,000 feet high glacier mountains. The manager of the whaling station on the other side of the island was a tough Norwegian whaler called Searle. Searle knew of Shackleton, but like the rest of the world, presumed him dead. So when Shackleton and his 5 men finally walked into the whaling station, knocked on Searle's door, he opened the door, took a step back. There was a shocked look on his face, there was a long pause, and he finally asked, "Who the hell are you?" The man in the center stepped forward and a quiet voice said, "My name is Shackleton." Searle, the tough Norwegian whaler, not exactly known for his strong display of emotions, turned around and broke down in tears. It took Shackleton another 4 months, 4 ships, 4 attempts to finally rescue the rest of his crew, who by then had been stuck in Antarctica for almost 2 years. Shackleton's mission clearly failed. Not only did he not cross Antarctica, he never even reached the continent. And yet he had the humility to recognize his failure. He reframed his failure from, "I failed to cross Antarctica," to, "I brought home everybody safe." And in the process, he failed successfully. And throughout his journey, he led like a compass by being crystal clear around the common goal. Get to Antarctica, get through the winter, get to Elephant Island, get to St. George Island, finally bring home everybody safe. Shackleton's voyage, to this day, is considered the #1 survival story, and his leadership is widely admired, including, by the way, a Harvard Business School case study on his leadership. Why? Well ahead of his time, he applied himself to leading with radical humility. How? He led like a compass, he was tough on results and tender on people, and he championed a fearless culture. Quick personal anecdote before we have time for a few questions. I long admired Shackleton's leadership, and I shared that admiration with my father. So in 2002, when the Seattle Maritime Museum organized an exhibition about Shackleton's voyage, I bought my father this t-shirt. And it has the Endurance on the front, and on the back it has this quote, contrasting Shackleton's leadership to some other explorers. "For scientific discovery, give me Scott. For speed and efficiency of travel, give me Amundsen." But when disaster strikes and all hope is gone, get down on your knees and pray for Shackleton. I gave this t-shirt to my dad as a gift, and he wore it on many of our outdoor adventures together. My dad and I were very close, and he passed away in 2010. But ever since, I've been holding on to this very t-shirt as a reminder of the strong bond I had with my father and our mutual admiration for Sir Ernest Shackleton's radically humble leadership. Now, there's a good chance that none of us will ever cross Antarctica on foot. I'm a pretty adventurous guy. This one I'm going to give a miss.